The Tablet of the Holy Mariner. He is the foreigner, the Persian, the Iraqi. When the passengers on the divine ark had clung to one of the names, with the permission of the Holy Mariner, in the pre-existent vessel, then did it set sail upon the sea of names. They traversed the stations of limitation, so that they might make for the Yemen of the powerful sovereign of oneness, arriving at the shore of divine unity. Thus might they drink from the chalice of transcendence. Indeed, by the aid of the Lord, that eternal ark set sail upon and plied the spiritual waters of wisdom. Then they reached a place where the name, the Still, became dominant over their course, so that the ship of the Spirit was becalmed, unable to move. At that moment, the impregnable command of the Lord descended from the holy and everlasting heavens. The mariner of eternity was ordered to teach a single letter of the hidden word to the people of the ark. Thus did they, by the succor of the unseen, pass through the valley of psychological bewilderment and arrive at the great court of spiritual unity, attaining the Mount Kaf of eternal life and the presence of the Lord of souls. When the people of the ship attained to the word of the spiritual friend, they were immediately filled with meaning and soared into the sacred sky. By the divine grace and mercy, they passed beyond the peaks of carnal desire and the deepest levels of negligence and blindness. At that moment, the breezes of paradise wafted upon their bodies from the sanctuary of the All-Merciful. After they soared in the heavens of divine nearness, they traversed the spiritual stations in the place of safety and security. Finally, they halted at the homeland of lovers. The inhabitants of this station arose to serve them and show them kindness. The immortal attendants and the holy service poured ruby wine liberally. Intoxication with the wine of divine knowledge and the cup of eternal wisdom induced such love and distraction that they escaped from their own being and that of existing things. They gave their hearts to the beauty of the friend. For ages and centuries they settled and dwelt in that pleasant and spiritual station, in that divine and holy rose garden, with perfect joy and happiness. Then the gales of divine tests and the winds of lordly temptation blew from the Sheba of the everlasting cause. They became distracted by the beauty of the wine-server and grew heedless of the immortal countenance, to the extent that they imagined the shadow to be the sun and phantoms to be light. They set out for the ladders of the greatest name, so that they might scale those heavens and arrive at that seat and place. When they rose toward it, the divine assayers descended upon them with the sacred touchstone, by the irresistible decree of the Lord. When these emissaries did not perceive the scent of the spiritual youth, they forbade entry to all. Afterwards, there occurred what is inscribed upon the guarded tablet. Then, you who dwell upon the plain of divine love, and drink the wine of unceasing forgiveness, do not exchange nearness to the beauty of the friend for both worlds. Do not prefer the presence of the wine-server to meeting him. And do not give your heart to the intoxicant of ignorance and heedlessness in preference to the wine of knowledge and wisdom. Lips are for mentioning the beloved. Do not defile them with filthy water. The heart is the home of everlasting mysteries. Do not busy it with the perishable things. Seek the water of life from the fountain of the beauty of the All-Praised. not from the manifestation of Satan. Yes, this ephemeral youth here mentions the highest station of love of the divine friends. He does so by reference to the wonders of the text of divine unity and the gems of the wisdom of the self-sufficient sovereign. Thus, perhaps some might recognize the value of courage and gallantry and put off the shirt of negligence and carnal appetites. Perhaps they will visit the illumined beauty of the pure, radiant, and sanctified friend in the land of love, detachment, amiability, and exaltation. Thus would they receive the lights dawning from the morn of his brow, and the effulgence of the perspicuous day, to at least the extent that they would be enabled to unite their inner and outer selves. We have passed beyond the loftiness of abstraction, the sublimity of divine oneness, the ultimate recognition that God is above all attributes, and the most great sanctification. Now they must put forth their utmost effort and give their unswerving attention, so that their inward secrets not be contrary to their overt behavior, nor their outward deeds at variance with their inner mysteries. We have traversed the stage of expending the self for others. Arise to expend justice and fairness upon the souls that pertain to you. In the end, however, you prefer the cloak of carnal longing and desire to the robe of divine benediction, and you exchange the song of the nightingale of immortality for the disagreeable croaking of death that issues from the throats of the hateful and rebellious. How miserable a trade you make! We are from God, and to him do we return. God willing, we maintain the hope that the immortal temples of glory shall, through the adornment of holiness and the divine attributes, appear illumined, gentle, pure, and undefiled, like the eternal sun. This is not difficult for God.